We're up. Microphone check, 1 2 1 2. All right, big topic today, and it is struggle bus and Squarespace and agency operations all kind of mixed into one amalgamated widget, one piece of content. And my name is Wayne Pelletier. I own a company called Resonant Pixel. We help rescue businesses from WordPress. And after a few tough days, really a tough week, we're looking at a lot of economic change and uncertainty. And if the economy's tanking, regardless of where you fall politically, the numbers are the numbers. And any major dips in the stock market can shake not just consumer confidence, but client confidence. What I've seen is that when we enter a recession, and we've seen this before, 2007, the mortgage crisis, we saw a lot of this. And I was at a really big agency at the time not really big, but 70, 75 people. And we had a massive team. Creative department was probably 20, 15 people. I don't know exactly how many in every year. And we saw a lot of change happen. And when I remember when I started this company in 2020 with a lot of momentum and excitement. And then a month into the year, stories of something called COVID-19 started popping up. And here I am, excited, rattling my network tree, especially on LinkedIn. And I've got all these proposals out for projects, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $35,000 projects to do branding and web design and social media creative and a bunch of, video processing and brand governance. I was so excited. And then what happened? All those budgets froze. All of them. And over the next couple of months, what happened is the small part of the project that was the important part, that was the impetus for reaching out to me in the first place, came through. And they were small projects. They were $3,000 here, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 initial branding things or website updates or social creative. It was a bunch of really great projects. Internally, what happens client side is, especially if they have a marketing department, project management, it's a larger, sophisticated operation. Oh, you're reaching out to a designer. It's like your grocery list. You start adding things to it that you'd like to get done. It's like earmarking a bill in Congress. Things start getting added by other teams and members and departments. And next thing you know is there's this big initiative. They want a proposal for it. And you go through that process and land on a project that gets all, some, or most, whatever, of it completed. Everybody's happy. What happened in 2020, we're going to start seeing happen now if we're not already seeing it. And I've already seen a little bit of it, which is, never mind that $10,000 thing, $30,000 thing. We're pausing budget right now. And unlike COVID, they're not saying why, but we know why. It's a lack of confidence in their sales and their customer base. And all that anxiety trickles up and then comes down to anyone that contributes to that business. So right now, all these big budgets inside of businesses they're being talked about. There are conversations happening, and every single one of those companies may still get some of that work done, but it may not be what they thought they were going to try and get done when they started this initiative months ago or weeks ago. So just like in early 2020, things are starting to dry up. What's real in those projects will shake out, and those things will come our way. So here's what I'm doing. I already run a business that gets rid of large project fees because we offer Squarespace web design as a subscription. And I feel like I've already done the biggest pivot that needs to happen in order to be recession-proof. Nobody wants to write a big check when they have anxiety. And the subscriptions are a great way to avoid having to do that. Now, there are some other things that I need to do. So diversifying the project base. So project work already has its ebb and flow, and it has its big seasons and its dry seasons. Usually in the web design branding space, it's dry in the summer when people are on vacation and during the holidays when everybody's more focused on family and other social activities. So in this case, I'm kind of figuring like a dry season, diversifying the offering to offer not just my core offer, but a done with you version, like consulting. That's where the credibility playbook comes in. I can say, look, if you can't afford my subscription, you can't afford a project, that's fine. You can DIY it because I am essentially reselling a DIY platform and, appending my expertise onto it. It's like a concierge service. So with just 6 weeks of calls, I'll coach you through. That is one more affordable, lower cost, entry-level sort of ticket. And then at the end of the day, if they decide they want to subscribe or they want my company to finish the work, that's great and that's fine. If they don't, that's great, because that offer stands on its own and helps people in a meaningful way during a recession. The other one is having products, digital products. So if you've branded your service, or if you've got a process that you have named, branded, and you invest in, you can create a course around not just your whole process, but maybe just one part of it. That's something I've already started doing with my course at WaynePelletier.com, where I'm just helping you have better initial review meetings, creative review meetings. It's not even expensive. It's $47. But helping people improve and double down on their self-improvement, then that is a great way to repurpose your expertise in bite-sized chunks to help people that are budget conscious get through a difficult time like a recession. So the next thing I'm doing is consolidating operations. If your business like mine just takes on subscriptions apparently ad nauseum, just nonstop subscription absorption, which is like, oh, I need this app for this and I need this app to do that, it gets out of hand. And while we're always operationally in the business of cutting costs, sometimes there's more pain associated with it than others, right? So you have a great accountant, you want to maintain that relationship, cutting QuickBooks, Xero, whatever they're using is problematic. But if you have scheduling application, CRM, website, proposal applications, drive spaces, like you're paying for Dropbox and Google. And if there's any redundancy, that's what I'm going after right now with a reckless abandon. I'm just killing tons of redundancy in the business. And it's been ongoing. It was sort of one of my initiatives going into the year. But right now, this is where Squarespace really does a lot of lifting for us, because you can invoice in it for free. It's included in your website subscription already. The CRM, while not the most robust feature base in the world, is there. And it's included. If you want to email that list, that costs a little extra, $100 a year or something. It's not that big a deal. And you can sell digital products, courses, all of that stuff in there. So being able to consolidate into one platform goes a long way to cutting operational expenses in other areas of the business. So that efficiency, I think, goes a long way. And the next thing I'm doing is leveraging the power of online communities. And I've mentioned before in these videos that I'm a member of several amazing online communities in Smashing the Plateau, Bureau of Digital, it's rebranding to the Bureau, and a dozen other great Slack groups. I'm in Discord groups. I'm in circle communities, like Alt Agency over at school. Like this, I'm in a ton of communities. And I'm doubling down in participating and having valuable conversations inside of that community. And this includes the Squarespace Circle community. I think it's important to be of help or assistance in a meaningful, generous way. If I'm generous with my expertise and my time to the people that I'm connected to inside of these communities, then that's going to be good for business, good for the network, good for the broader reach of anything that I'm creating inside of those. And it goes for Facebook groups too. Like I mentioned on Wednesday's call with the folks that didn't know you could change the subdomain. Simple things, right? Local strategy. That's the next one. Doubling down on the local strategy. Personal relationships create strong business relationships. And it's a multiplier from a referral standpoint. So I've mentioned before that I'm on the board for a local business association. I'm going to continue doing that work and being a part of that community in a really honest way. To be completely transparent, it's a fun group. There's tons of super nice people in there, and I really like bumping into them around town, grabbing a sandwich or at the grocery store or at a traffic light, like, hey, I know that guy. It's really cool. And I've found that the community isn't as big as it looks when you really start, opening cupboard doors and taking a look at it. And the relationships I'm building in there are valuable. And you can't unknow someone. So those relationships are there for life. Period. It's my job. It's on me to maintain them and be generous and stay in touch. But you can't unknow someone, like them or not, right? So I like these folks. I might as well spend more time with them and be helpful, because a lot of people are not as tech savvy as me from a local business standpoint. They have a HVAC company or a flooring company or a restaurant, and they don't spend all day staring at a Mac and on the internet. So ChatGPT is new to them. They're hearing about it, so they pick my brain. They want to take advantage of my experience and exposure, which may not be the most in the whole world, but it's more than they have. So I can pick their brain about certain things that technically I am shallow on, and it's a great mutual exchange. Next up, after local strategy, content. Yes, this YouTube channel is part of that strategy, doubling the amount of content that I'm creating, and focus on one channel. What I've found is that if I'm sharing out content on multiple channels and the content strategy for each channel is really deep, there's a multiplier in the amount of content that I need to create, because what works on each channel is a little bit different. And that multiplier is extremely painful. I don't have that kind of time. So I've leveraged YouTube because I really like how it works as a search engine. And it seems like the content has longer tail. It's not as ephemeral. It doesn't disappear an hour later or 2 days later like it may on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. I don't know if you've tried to find an older post from someone on LinkedIn, but it's not the easiest thing in the world. So focusing on one channel, and right now what I'm doing in that focus is refining my funnel strategy to make sure that I'm creating the right videos, and I'm bringing topics like this out for folks that don't know who I am, or don't know my business model, or don't know anything about Squarespace or web design. And then people who are somewhat knowledgeable, all the way down to people who are knowledgeable, and they get different topics. And right now I'm listing that out and refining that and looking forward to making that shift here in the next few weeks to a couple of months. And as I make that pivot and market anxiety continues to increase in the coming weeks, and by all signs it appears like that is absolutely going to be the case, then my bet here, my gamble, is that people will do more searching. They will look for DIY solutions, and look to learn more about the platforms they are leveraging. And hopefully, if they want to leverage some of the platforms that I talk about, I get an opportunity to help them because I've made a thing. That's really all this is. So, like I said, this is Struggle Bus. I know there's a lot of anxiety out there. I'm working hard to continue this pivot in my business to try and be recession proof. This is my plan to be recession proof. If this resonated with you, like, subscribe, comment, call me crazy. We had a couple of listeners in here, wrong side. We had a couple of listeners in here, watchers, viewers, live. They've both bailed, which actually from a analytics standpoint tracks. People will only watch the first few minutes. So no surprise there. I want to keep an eye on this. This may be a thing that I track. Maybe this should be a segment. Dude, maybe there should be a segment where we say recession check-in. Actually, that's a terrible idea. Let's try to do something that's a little more uplifting in the future. So, like I said, we've seen this before. And we know how the projects ultimately trickle in. So let's plan for it, budget for it, consolidate expenses, and get rid of any redundancy from a technical standpoint in operations. Double down on local, double down on a single platform if we can get away with it, and definitely double down in communities and let's triple on content. Let's triple on content. Deal? So now, know what I want to do now, because nobody's watching. We're 17 minutes in, is do my thumbnail. I haven't done the thumbnail thing. I'm really inconsistent with it. All right. So if I was to say how I plan to be recession proof, or how to make my business recession proof, riffing on titles here, what would be like, or would you like fight like, I don't know. We might do a thing where like, but that's so trite. Oh my God, people do that all the time in their thumbnails. And honestly, you see it. I see a thumbnail like that, and I'm like, that's stupid. But I bet it works. I bet it works all too well. So, yeah, thumbnail moment. I'm gonna be like, or like block. How about like shield? I need like a shield graphic. Like, I don't have anything. I wanted to pull something up physically and hold it up like a shield. Anyway, I'm just goofing off now. It doesn't even matter. Thanks for watching this absolute 2 minutes of silliness. Happy Friday. I will see you Monday, 11 a.m., right here on this YouTube channel. Join me. We'll have a new topic. It will not be a downer, recession-based topic, but I just was inspired to share how I plan to attempt to make my business recession proof. I feel good about it, and that's really all I have to go on. So anyway, Monday here. See you back here.